Part 1. White Clouds. Verdant Rain Moon. Tower of Black Winds. The ceaseless rains that satiate the verdant landscape of Fodlan are accompanied by fierce winds and mighty roars of thunder. This abundance of rain, sparkling as it falls against beams of emerging sunlight, is a constant reminder to the people of Fodlan that nature is ever wild and unpredictable. For when the rain finally does take pause, the clouds part and give way to a glorious rainbow.
I have a new mission for you, Professor. I would like for you to take your students into Kingdom territory to eliminate some thieves.
They stole a hero's relic from House Gautier of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, the Lance of Ruin. Their leader's name is Miklan. He is apparently a disowned son of House Gautier. I believe it had something to do with his lack of a crest. Such happenings are fairly common within the kingdom.
The Crestless cannot unleash the goddess's power even if they possess a relic. Nonetheless, they are still capable of simply wielding those weapons.
The hero's relics are immensely powerful weapons. We must meet this threat with adequate force. Unfortunately, most of the Knights of Seiros are away from the monastery, purging the apostates of the Western Church. So we are entrusting you with this mission. After all, you wield the Sword of the Creator, which is more than capable of opposing any relic.
The Sword of the Creator is a powerful weapon well beyond the other relics. You have nothing to fear. However, to ensure that no harm comes to the students, we will also send the monastery's most skilled individuals to aid you.
I must remind you that you are expected to conduct yourself in a manner befitting the wielder of that holy sword. Also, you should know that Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. That is all.
Hey, Teach. I gotta say, I never would have guessed you were a descendant of the King of Liberation. You didn't forget, did you? That story I told you about a relic that could cut a mountain in half? That relic was the Sword of the Creator, the very same used by Nemesis, the King of Liberation. Don't be coy, Teach. The Sword of the Creator could only be wielded by Nemesis. If you can use it too, that can only mean you have that bloodline's crest. Fine, keep your secrets. But just so you know, I don't understand isn't gonna cut it here at the monastery. Speaking of, Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. He probably wants to examine your crest with those crazy instruments of his. Actually, sounds amusing. Maybe I'll tag along.
If it isn't my little Claude, what has you so worked up?
Judith? What are you doing here?
That's Lady Judith to you, boy. I told you, until you're in charge, I expect you to address me with all due respect. Anyway, I'm here to retrieve you. Duke Regan's condition has taken a turn for the worse.
Are you saying the old man's on his deathbed?
No, it's not that bad. But in the state he's in, he won't be able to participate in the next Roundtable conference. He wants you to go in his stead. I volunteered to play the messenger.
Well, thanks for that. Oh, and Teach, this is Judith, also known as the hero of House Dathnal.
So you're little Claude's teacher, are you? How much trouble has he been giving you?
If her nickname didn't give it away, you should know that Judith, Lady Judith, is the leader of the famous House Dathnal of the Leicester Alliance. She used to be a big deal at the Roundtable conferences, but it seems of late she's been reduced to a mere...
You had better shut that mouth before I put my boot in it, you tactless nuisance. Now come on, let's get going. Sorry, Professor, but I need to borrow the boy for a bit.
I suppose we'll have to finish our chat later. Sorry, Teach. But don't you worry, I'll be back in time for our next mission. All right, Judith, let's get going.
It's Lady... I suppose you are the active leader for the time being. Fair enough, boy. Fair enough.
Good of you to come, Professor. I've heard much about you lately. Specifically, that you are able to awaken the Sword of the Creator's power. Thusly, it seems the true nature of your crest has been uncovered. I had, of course, seen your crest before. However, at first I failed to recognize its true nature. Eventually, it dawned on me that what is visible is perhaps merely a small part of a greater whole. In other words, your crest is too significant to be detected when using normal instruments. After this discovery, I began researching crests that might fit that description, which allowed for a temporary hypothesis. However, I could not be certain. The crest my conclusions led me to was far too unusual. A crest thought to have disappeared from this world in the millennium since the fall of Nemesis, the King of Liberation. The crest of flames. That is what you possess. Your ability to wield the sword of the Creator has unequivocally proven my hypothesis. A legendary power, dormant since time immemorial and now resurrected. There can be no doubt that this ancient power resides within you.
A stone? A stone. I do not understand. Yet, as I think of it, the pounding in my chest grows faster still. But is that me? Or is it you?
The Western Church, the Central Church. They believe in the same goddess, but oppose one another. Fodlan is a complicated place.
I am sorry that the kingdom's unrest did not stop with Lord Lonato. Professor, the hero's relics are incredibly powerful. Please, be on your guard.
Mercedes. Her face looks familiar.
I'm not secretly eating cake. You're getting pretty good at talking through the door, Professor.
It's awful, just awful what happened with the rite of rebirth. The infirmary. Well, it was a mess. Things are finally calm again, and so I've come here to unwind. Let me tell you, I put all of my knowledge to use keeping those kids alive. Still, the truth of it is that when someone faces death for the first time, well, they figure out who they are. They learn if they can do it again. We can't lose them, Professor. Not to battle or to cowardice. If you can keep them going, then I will too.
Hi. Maybe. Oh, why is that fish so still? Wait, is it swimming sideways? Perhaps it is resigned to its woeful fate of being plucked from the water and eaten. Ah, Professor, you are so outgoing with all of the students. I would like to have more opportunities to connect with you, though I am certain my brother would disapprove. Might you help me with a favor?
Professor!
No.
Could you help me out?
I could use your help.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Oh, come to think of it, last month there was something to report, wasn't there? Thanks to you, I hear that everything was resolved. I never realized that bandits had entered. I'm not a great guard after all, am I? I hope you will forgive me one day.
The coffin of Saros in the Holy Mausoleum should have held her remains. Instead, it held the sword of the Creator. What could it mean?
Some people are unhappy because they don't have the crest they want. And some are unhappy because they have a crest they never asked for.
Quite so. The head of the Western Church holds the title of bishop. That's not as distinguished as an archbishop, such as Lady Rhea, but it still comes with a fair amount of authority. If someone in that position plotted an assassination, I cannot help but think it must have been instigated by some outside force. There are bishops in the Eastern Church as well, but to speak frankly, they do not have much impact. They are under the influence of both the Archbishop and the Leicester Alliance, so their ability to voice grievances is quite limited.
Hello there.
Oh, that man I walked past earlier. That wasn't Lord Rodrigue, was it? House Fraldarius is a powerful noble family, linked to the founding of Fargus. Lord Rodrigue, its current leader, is a magnificent warrior. He's known as the Shield of Fargus. A dozen or so years ago, during the Northern Campaign in Srang, he performed splendidly as the king's right hand. Come to think of it, wasn't there someone from House Fraldarius amongst this year's students?
You acquitted yourself honorably last month. To think they'd go into the Holy Mausoleum and assault the Goddess Tower. I cannot imagine the Western Church was acting on its own. Someone must have been helping them. As for the masked knight who escaped, his days are numbered. I hope we find him soon, so I can kill him myself.
I am Rodrigue Achille Fraldarius. I bear the great honor of serving as a lord in the kingdom of Fargus. I have come in Margrave Gautier's stead to retrieve their stolen relic. However, as I hear it, a group of students is to attend to this matter. I sincerely hope no harm comes to any of them.
Professor. I'm so sorry my older brother is causing you all this hassle, Professor. Don't misunderstand. I always thought he was a piece of garbage. But I never thought he'd steal the relic. I can't wait to see his face when he realizes I'm in the group that was sent to take him down.
Oh.
Yes. This has been my first time to the Kingdom's North. I hear the people of North are cold and have much loneliness. Professor, I hear you have worked as a mercenary in the Kingdom. Did you find joy in this? You cannot remember? Is that having possibility? I have amazement.
I heard a relic was stolen. If this had something to do with a family conflict, I don't think I could choose a side. I think I'd be a pretty good judge of that. I know relics aren't easy to come by, but I'd still like to get my hands on one.
Okay.
What the? Swinging a sword about in the Holy Mausoleum? The potential for damage is too great to imagine.
I sincerely hope the saints' coffins were not damaged. Were you using magic? I've heard you weren't, but it's torture not being able to go inside the holy mausoleum for an entire year.
So, you have a crest too, eh, Professor? Does that mean you're descended from nobility? You've certainly got the look for it. I sure do wish there were more nobles like you, Professor. A teacher, a mercenary, and so very mysterious. How could a girl ever get enough?
Hey, Professor, did you happen to see that man I was looking for earlier? I just spotted him by the dining hall, but then he ran away. To be honest, he's my father. He's using a different name now, but there's no mistaking it. It's him. I know it is. Father, I found you at last.
I thought school life would be peaceful and quiet, with a sprinkle of drama to keep things interesting. But since you arrived, it's been one thing after another. Is that just a coincidence, I wonder? What do you mean? I don't like the way you said that. Stop trying to spook me! Is it true that Lady Rhea entrusted the Sword of the Creator to you? I can hardly even fathom you being capable of wielding something of such power. Just who are you anyway?
That reminds me, the Leicester Alliance is governed through roundtable conferences between the 5 most prominent allied dukes, the 5 great lords. First and foremost is Duke Regan, the Alliance's leader. Joining him are the heads of House Goneril, House Gloucester, and House Ordelia. Lastly, there is the newest addition, Margrave Edmund. These 5 each have voting power in the conferences. Before House Edmund, it was House Daphne that was counted amongst the 5. However, it is said that the head of that family relinquished their vote to House Edmund, which had only recently risen to significance.
Hey, Professor. Don't you think everyone's making too big a fuss over these crests, or heroes' relics, or whatever they're called? How important can that stuff really be? Personally, I don't even care that I don't have a crest.
I'll take muscles over crests any day. Heck, I'll take muscles over a hot meal.
Actually...
Hello?
For a hero's relic to be stolen, it's unheard of.
And just last month, the Sword of the Creator was almost stolen too.
Also quite unheard of. What impudence.
It seems that our next mission is another bandit hunt. This time I've heard that their leader is the son of a noble family. What a complete disgrace to the nobility.
I have a request. Hail, Professor. If I may introduce myself, I am Gilbert. My life has been spent as a dedicated knight. I am to accompany you on your assignment. I may have slowed a step in recent years, but I pledge to you the full extent of my abilities. No, Professor. The pleasure is all mine, I assure you.
Wow, Lord Rodrigue in the flesh. What is Felix doing? This is such a rare opportunity for him to see his family.
What?
Right. You guys have it bad in your own way. But believe me when I say we've got it bad too. With all that happened last month,
a great many knights were dispatched to the Western Church, and now we must set out for the Eastern Church, located in the far east of the Leicester Alliance. If I must die in Alliance territory, I wish it wasn't in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. I'd much rather go on a sightseeing trip to Deirdre. Oh, you don't know? Deirdre is House Regan's domain. It's called the Aquatic Capital.
Okay.
I've had a chance to spar with Gilbert of the Knights of Seros before. I couldn't get a single strike in. If that man is accompanying you on your assignment, you can rest assured that no harm will come to you. To be honest, he kind of reminds me of someone. But no, it must be my imagination, right?
Professor, you looked like a natural wielding the sword of the Creator. It's strange though, isn't it? The last owner of the sword was Nemesis, but I thought he didn't have any descendants.
Professor!
So the whole plan to attack the monastery was some plot devised by the Western Church? That means they used Lenato. What right do they have to drag a good man like him into their schemes? There's going to be a big investigation into the Western Church soon. I wish I could be a part of it. I want to hear for myself why Lenato had to die.
Have you seen a man who looks like me? He's middle-aged and relatively tall. If you get the chance, tell him I've gone out, okay?
Hey, I heard about the things you did. I'm so glad Lady Rhea is safe. I figure you're a great person after all, Professor. I learned all sorts of things, so I can do as much as possible for Lady Rhea. Cleaning, chopping wood, making feed. Oh, and I'm learning the bow and arrow from Shamir. I'm happy to help you out with anything you need done for your class. You betcha. I'm your guy, Professor. Since, you know, you can't exactly add me to your class or anything.
Blast. Oof. This wasn't the first time I've taken part in an Alliance Roundtable conference, but it was still exhausting. There's not enough cooperation in that group, especially from Lawrence's father. But at least my grandfather was surprisingly alert. Judging by that, I'd say he's got at least 5 more years in him.
Professor, Geralt was looking for you. It seems he has gone off somewhere. If he is not in his room, then surely someone has seen him. Ask around. I have something to ask of you. I have something to ask of you.
I am trusting you. You must be rather bewildered by the power that was hidden within. However, know that I believe in you. I have no doubt that you will use that power justly. You will most certainly fulfill the grand destiny that the goddess has seen fit to grant you. May I ask a favor of you?
Hey, you! Professor. Oh, Professor, are you looking for Captain Gerald? I just saw him in the Knight's Hall a little while ago. He was talking with a female knight, but I didn't get a good look at who she was.
Oh my! The crest of flames? Could it really? Yes, the actual crest of flames! No, that is quite enough. I should compose myself. I must remain objective in my research. Objective, professional. The scandal with the Western Church troubles me. We cannot afford to let ourselves be swept along, and yet...
Hi. Don't you think Professor Hanneman's been acting a bit strange? Maybe he's made some kind of big discovery. Don't you think maybe he's... Thank you very much.
Maybe the assassination attempt on Lady Rhea, the theft of a hero's relic. I am up to my ears in foul news of recent. Speaking of, there's a terrifying rumor swirling around Garreg Mach these days. Apparently, a spirit of death wielding a huge scythe has been kidnapping young maidens. Will the madness never end?
Oh, Gerald? He said something about visiting a grave. There's a graveyard attached to the monastery, so you'll probably find him there. I can't remember where the graveyard is, but I bet Sedith knows.
Hey, I wanted to ask you to join me, but I couldn't find you. So, here I am. I was thinking we should visit your mother. She's resting beneath this humble grave. Oh, of course you would ask that. I wouldn't know where to begin. I suppose I haven't talked much about her. She was gentle and smart. Oh, so smart. A wonderful cook. Always kind to everyone. And she loved flowers. Whenever I brought her back an unusual flower, her face would light up. I cherish those memories. I can't count how many times she made me happy just by smiling. And she smiled the most when she was pregnant with you. She died right after you were born. She wasn't able to spend much time with you. But she loved you with all her heart. That's the truest thing I know. Never forget it. This ring is the only keepsake I have of her. In time, it will be yours. One day, I hope you'll give this ring to someone you love as well as I love her.
Well done. You have my thanks.